Hello बच्चों, hope you all are doing good. So today we are going to complete the reading of our third chapter of class 6, that is mindful eating, a path to a healthy body. Who is healthy? Who is healthy? Who is healthy? One who eats food that is wholesome in moderate quantities and appropriate for the season, time and place. Medhu and Misty read thought of the day on school notice board every day. Today's thought Anyan Jatani Jivanti makes them curious. Misty tells Medhu that it is a Sanskrit saying which means food gives life to living beings. Let us try to understand the significance of this saying. What do we eat? Activity 3.1. Let us record. All of us eat food every day. Food is an essential component of our daily life. List the food items you have consumed over the week in Table 3.1. Table 3.1 Food items consumed over a week. What observations can you make about your food from the data collected in Table 3.1? Do you eat the same kind of food in every meal or do your choices vary? Compare your list with those prepared by your friends. Find similarities and differences in the food consumed by you and your friends. What did you find? Record your findings in your notebook. You may have noticed that there is a variety in the food eaten by you and your friends. Do you think that such diversity in food exists in all states of our country? 3.1.1 Food in different regions. Activity 3.2 Let us explore. Find out the types of food traditionally consumed and the crops grown in various states of India. You may refer to books in your library, search the internet, and interact with your friends, family, and neighbors to collect information. In Table 3.2, add more states and fill the collected data. A few examples are already given. Some traditional food items in various states of India. State is Punjab. Locally grown crops, maize, wheat, chickpea, pulses. Traditional food items eaten: मक्की दी रोटी, सरसों दा साग, छोले भटूरे, पराठा, हलवा, खीर. Beverages: lassi, छाछ, milk, tea. Karnataka, locally grown crops, rice, ragi, urad, coconut. Traditional food items: idli, dosa, sambar, coconut chutney, ragi, mudde, palya, rasam, rice. Beverages: buttermilk, coffee, tea. State is Manipur, locally grown crops, rice, bamboo, soybean. Traditional food items eaten: rice, iromba, utti, singju, kangsoi. Beverages: black tea. Why do we see diversity in traditional food consumed in various states of our country? Analyze the data collected by you in Table 3.2. Are there food items that are common across many states? Make a list of those food items. You may find that some food items are common in many states, while some are eaten only in a particular state. What relation do you find between the traditional food items and the locally grown crops? You must have observed that the traditional food is of any state is usually based on the crops grown in that state. India is an agricultural country with diverse soil and climate types. Various crops are grown in its different regions depending on the soil types and climate condition. In various regions of India, the choice of food may vary according to the cultivation of food crops in that particular region, taste preferences, culture, and traditions. 3.1.2 How have cooking practices changed over time? You have learned that food habits vary across states. Our food choices as well as practices of food preparation may differ from one another. Have our food habits and cooking practices changed over time? Activity 3.3. Let us interact and find out. Prepare a list of questions for gathering information from elderly people about their food habits and cooking practices. Following are some of the sample questions. What kind of food do you still eat and what is new? What are the changes in cooking practices over time? What has caused these changes? Conduct interviews with some elderly people based on the questions prepared. What are your findings from the interviews you conducted? Cooking practices, also called culinary practice, have changed over time. There is a significant difference between traditional and modern culinary practices. Earlier, most cooking was done using a chula. Nowadays, most of us cook using a modern gas stove. Earlier, most grinding was done by manuals using a silvatta. These days, we use an electrical grinder for ease of grinding. Find out what were the other ways of cooking and grinding. Why have these culinary practices changed over time? These changes may be due to factors such as technological development, improved transportation, and better communication. What are the components of food? Madhu and Mishti visit the traditional food festival organized in their school. The theme of the festival is Eat Healthy, Live Healthy. The festival features stalls displaying different kinds of traditional dishes. Dr. Poshita, a nutritional expert, explains to students that health is the ultimate wealth. Let us understand what Dr. Poshita means by this statement. Have you ever missed a meal? How do you feel when you miss a meal? We feel tired, less energetic when we do not eat for some time. Why do you think a marathon runner drinks glucose water during and after a race? Glucose provides instant energy. Glucose is an example of a carbohydrate. Carbohydrates are one of the primary sources of energy in our diet. Cereals like wheat, rice, and maize, vegetables like potato and sweet potato, and fruits like banana, pineapple, and mango are some sources of carbohydrates. Do you know that common sugar is also a type of carbohydrate? Why do you think we prefer to have laddus as a part of our traditional diet in winters? Besan or wheat flours, atta, and ghee are among the main ingredients of laddus along with gond, edible gum, nuts and seeds. Ghee and various kinds of oils are grouped under another kind of food component which is called fat. Sources of fat can be from plants and animals. Nuts such as groundnuts, walnuts, coconuts, and almonds, and seeds such as pumpkin seeds and sunflower seeds are some sources of fat. Fat is a source of stored energy. Carbohydrates and fats provide us energy for performing various activities. Therefore, they are called energy giving foods. Identify more food items that are rich sources of carbohydrates and fats. Polar bears accumulate a lot of fat under their skin. This fat serves as an energy source. It supports them during their months long winter sleep, that is hibernation, enabling them to survive without eating. Proteins are also an important part of our food. Milk products and pulses are good sources of protein. Sports persons need protein in larger quantities to build their muscles. People get protein from plants as well as animals. Some excellent plant sources of protein are pulses, beans, peas, and nuts. Animal sources of protein are milk, paneer, egg, fish, and meat. Protein rich foods help in growing and repair our body. These are therefore called bodybuilding foods. The right amount of protein must be included in the diet of growing children for their proper growth and development. Which of these food components are part of your daily diet? Have you ever seen mushrooms? They grow mostly in dark and moist places. Edible mushrooms are good sources of protein. Why do you think we are advised to include servings of fruits, vegetables, and other plant based foods in our daily diet? Let us understand the importance of some other food components by reading the following two cases. Case 1. In earlier times, during long voyages, sailors often suffered from bleeding and swollen gums. During a voyage in 1746, Scottish physician James Lind observed that sailors who consumed lemons and oranges recovered from these symptoms. Bleeding and swollen gums are symptoms of a disease called scurvy. What do you interpret by reading case 1? What cures scurvy? Lemons and oranges help in curing scurvy. Scurvy is caused due to deficiency of vitamin C. Vitamin C present in citrus fruits like lemons and oranges helps in curing this disease. Case 2. In 1960s, Indian scientists found that among the human population in the Himalayan region and the northern plains of India, symptoms of swelling at the front of the neck were prevalent. As per norms of the Government of India, an effort was made to supplement common salt with iodine for preparing iodized salt. Consumption of iodized salt visually reduced the above symptoms. These symptoms were due to deficiency of iodine in the soil of this region, resulting in a lack of iodine in the local food and water supply. Swelling at the front of the neck is a symptom of a disease called goiter. What do you infer from case 2? You may have learnt about iodized salt through newspapers, advertisements, or by reading about it on a salt packet. What does it mean? Iodized salt is simply common salt mixed with the required quantities of salts of iodine. Salt farming is a traditional practice of a tribal community named Agriyas. They practice salt farming in Little Run of Kutch and other parts of Gujarat. For 8 months, they live in the extreme heat of the desert and work very hard to get salt from seawater. How would you find out more about other food components that protect our body from various diseases? Activity 3.4. Let us conduct a survey. Study the chart given in figure 3.5 to explore the functions and sources of various components of food. Find out more sources of vitamins and minerals. Also understand the symptoms of the disease caused by the lack of these food components. Visit your neighborhood, interact with people, and find out if any individual shows the symptoms of listed on the chart. An investigatory project of this kind can be taken by the students under guidance of a teacher. Correlate these symptoms with their diet and identify the deficiency diseases or disorders. Suggest the possible cause or causes for the symptoms observed and changes required in the diet for improvement. Suggest them to visit a doctor for further advice. Figure 3.5. Chart of vitamins and minerals, their functions, some sources related deficiency diseases or disorders, and symptoms. Food component vitamin A keeps eyes and skin healthy. Sources papaya, carrot, mango, milk. Deficiency disease disorder, loss of vision. Symptoms poor vision, loss of vision, and darkness, that is night blindness. Sometimes complete loss of vision. Vitamin B1 keeps heart healthy and supports body to perform various functions. Sources legumes, nuts, whole grains, seeds, milk products. Disease beriberi. Symptoms swelling, tingling, or burning sensation in feet and hands, trouble in breathing. Vitamin C helps body to fight diseases. Sources amla, guava, green chili, orange, lemon. Disease disorder scurvy. Symptoms bleeding gums, slow healing of wounds. Vitamin D helps a body to absorb calcium for bone and teeth health. Sources: exposure to sunlight, milk, butter, fish, eggs. Disease disorder, rickets. Symptoms: soft and bent bones. Calcium keeps bones and teeth healthy. Sources: milk, soya milk, curd, cheese, paneer. Disease disorder, bone and tooth decay. Symptoms: weak bones and tooth decay. Iodine helps to perform physical and mental activities. Sources: seaweed, water chestnut, that is singada, iodized salt. Disease disorder, goiter. Symptoms: swelling at the front of the neck. Iron, important component of blood. Sources: green leafy vegetables, beetroot and pomegranate. Disease disorder, anemia. Symptoms: weakness, shortness of breath. From figure 3.5, you have learnt that vitamins A, B1 and C and minerals calcium, iodine and iron are two groups of food components that protect our body from various diseases. But how can we overcome vitamin and mineral deficiency diseases or disorders? Food components that provide energy, support growth, help repair and protect our body from diseases and maintain various bodily functions are called nutrients. The major nutrients in our body include carbohydrates, proteins, fats, vitamins, and minerals. Vitamins and minerals are also called protective nutrients. These nutrients protect our body from diseases and keep us healthy. Your parents may have advised you to have milk, green vegetables, fruits, and whole grains regularly. These food items are some sources of vitamins and minerals. Although vitamins and minerals are required in small amounts, they are essential to keep our body healthy. What differences do you observe in raw and cooked vegetables? Have you ever noticed that vegetables sometimes lose their bright color or become softer and less crisp when cooked? Some nutrients like vitamin C and others are lost during cooking due to high heat. Would it not be wise to include fruits and uncooked vegetable into our diet? Washing cut or peeled vegetables and fruits may also result in the loss of some vitamins. However, it is highly recommended to all fruits and vegetables be thoroughly washed before consumption. Do we obtain all nutrients from plants and animals? No, Medhu. Nutrients like salt can be obtained from seawater or from rocks. Also, vitamin D can be naturally produced by our body upon exposure to sunlight. Fruits and vegetables are rich in dietary fibers. Let us see how dietary fibers are beneficial for us. In addition to the essential nutrients, our body needs dietary fibers and water. Dietary fibers are also known as roughage. Do not provide any nutrients to our body. However, they are an essential component of our food. They help our body get rid of undigested food and ensure smooth passage of stools. Roughage in our food is provided mainly by suitable plant products. Green leafy vegetables, fresh fruits, whole grains, pulses, and nuts are good sources of roughage. My grandma has difficulty in passing stool. Now I understand why the doctor advised her to eat food that is high in fiber. Eating food that is locally grown and plant based to extent possible is not only healthy for the body but it is also good for our environment and planet. Water is also an essential part of our diet. It helps the body absorb nutrients from food. It removes waste from the body through sweat and urine. We should drink efficient water regularly to keep ourselves healthy. Noah scientist Koluthur Gopalan 1918 to 2019 initiated nutrition research in India. He analyzed more than 500 Indian foods for their nutritional value and recommended an appropriate diet in the Indian context. He led surveys on the nutritional status of the Indian population, identifying widespread deficiencies in protein, energy, and other food components. This led to the implementation of the midday meal program in 2002, now a PM Poshan initiative to provide balanced food in the government run and government aided schools of our country. This scheme has played a role in improving the health and nutrition of millions of children nationwide. 3.3 How to test different components of food. Let us find out which nutrients are present in various food items. Some nutrients like starch, a type of a carbohydrate, fat, and protein can be detected using fairly simple tests, while others can be detected only in a well equipped laboratory. Let us explore. We can detect the presence of starch, fat, and protein in some food items. 3.3.1 Test for starch. Activity 3.5 Let us investigate. Take a small quantity of the food items such as slice of a potato, cucumber, bread, some boiled rice, boiled gram, crushed peanuts, oil, butter, and crushed coconut. You can take other food items too for tasting. Place a small piece of each item on a separate dish. With the help of a dropper, put 2 to 3 drops of diluted iodine solution on each food item. Observe if there are any changes in the color of the food items. Have they turned blue black? Record your observation in table 3.3. A blue black color indicates the presence of starch. Test for fats. Activity 3.6. Let us investigate. Take a small part of the food items that you tested for the presence of starch in activity 3.5. Place each food item on a separate piece of paper. Wrap the paper around the food and press it. Be careful not to tear the paper. If a food item contains a little water, allow the paper to dry. Does the paper develop any oily patch? What do you think is the reason for this patch? If oil or butter is present in the food item, it leaves an oily patch on the paper. Now hold the paper against light. Can you see the light faintly shining through this patch? An oily patch on the paper shows that food item contains fat. Which of these items contain fats? Record your observations in table 3.3. Test for proteins. Activity 3.7. Let us investigate. This activity may be demonstrated by the teacher. Take the food item tested in previous activities. Make a paste or powder of the food items using pestle and mortar. Figure 3.8. Put about half teaspoon of each food in a separate clean test tube. Precautions. These chemicals are harmful and needed to be handled with care. Do not touch any of these chemicals unless asked to do so. If any chemical gets spilled on your body, immediately wash the affected area with water. Do not put any of these chemicals into your mouth or try to smell them. Add 2 to 3 teaspoons of water to each test tube and shake them well. Add 2 drops of copper sulfate solution to each test tube using a dropper. Now take another dropper and add 10 drops of caustic soda to each test tube. Shake well and leave the test tube undisturbed for a few minutes. What did you observe? Did the content of some test tube turn violet? This violet color indicates the presence of protein in the food item. Write your observation in the table 3.3. What conclusion can you draw from table 3.3? Which food items show the presence of more than one nutrient? Which food items show the presence of both proteins and fats? Peanuts show the presence of both proteins and fats. This indicates that any food which we eat may contain multiple nutrients. Is there a food item that lacks any of these nutrients? Which of these foods do you consume daily? Try to find out other foods that are good sources of starch and proteins and fats. 3.4 Balanced diet. Are nutritional requirements the same for everyone? Do you and your grandparents need the same type or the same amount of nutrients? Requirement of the type and amount of nutrients in a diet may vary according to the age, gender, physical activity, health status, lifestyle, and so on. Activity 3.8 Let us find out. You have listed food consumed by you during the week in activity 3.1. Check whether your food contains all the nutrients and other essential components necessary for growth and development. If not, check which nutrient or the other food components need to be added. A diet that has all essential nutrients, roughage, and water in the right amount for proper growth and development of the body is known as a balanced diet. What changes would you make in your diet to make it a balanced diet? Activity 3.9 Let us compare. Read the nutritional information given below for a packet of potato wafers and a packet of roasted chana shown here. Potato wafers. Nutritional information per 100 gram. Energy 536 kilocalories. Fats 35 gram. Carbohydrates 53 gram. Proteins 7 gram. Dietary fiber 4.8 gram. Nutritional information per 100 gram of roasted chana. Energy 355 kilocalories, fats 6.26 gram, carbohydrates 58.58 gram, proteins 18.64 gram, dietary fiber 16.8 gram. Based on the nutritional information on the food packets given above, which food would you choose and why? Some foods have high calories due to high sugar and fat content. Moreover, they contain very low amounts of proteins, minerals, vitamins, and dietary fibers. These foods are called junk foods. These foods include potato wafers, candy bars, and carbonated drinks. Consuming these foods frequently is not good as these are not healthy for our body. They make a person obese. Such a person may suffer from several health problems. You should always remember Dr. Poshita's statement. Health is the ultimate wealth. We should take care of our body to stay healthy. Eating a balanced diet and avoiding junk food for food contribute towards a healthy body. Good health is essential for leading a happy life. Which of the two foods you studied in activity 3.9 could be labeled as junk food? Packaged food items must have information about the nutrients on their cover. The information should list the amount of each nutrient. Sometimes more nutrients are added to the food during processing, fortification to improve its nutritional quality. Iodized salt and some baby foods are examples of fortified foods. The Food Safety and Standard Authority of India (FSSAI) is a government agency that regulates food quality in India. 3.5 Millets Nutrition Rich Cereals. You may have heard of jowar, bajra, ragi, and sanwa. These are native crops of India. These can be easily cultivated in different climatic conditions. These highly nutritious grains are also called millets. Have you ever had food items made from these millets? Millets are small sized grains and have been an integral part of Indian diet for centuries. They have regained popularity due to their numerous health benefits. They are good sources of vitamins, minerals like iron and calcium, and dietary fibers as well. That is the reason they are also called nutri cereals. They contribute significantly to a balanced diet required for the normal functioning of our body. 3.6 Food miles from farm to our plate. How does food reach from a farm to our plate? What are the steps involved in this process? Who are the people involved in this process? Do you know how much time and effort is required to get the wheat flour once seed grains germinate in the farm? Let us look at figure 3.10 to understand the entire process of making the chapati that we eat. Figure 3.10, from farm to plate. Story of chapati from farm to plate. Farmer growing wheat, threshing and winnowing of grains, storage of grains, grinding of grains and packaging, transport to retail shop, food on our plate. The entire distance traveled by a bag of wheat or any other food item from the producer to the consumer is known as its food miles. Reducing food miles is important because it helps to cut down the cost and pollution during its transport. It helps support local farmers and it also keeps our food fresher and healthier. Many people waste food, leaving it unconsumed on their plates. One must remember the time and effort put by our farmers and other community members in getting the food from the farm to our plate. We must take only as much food as we can consume. It would reduce food wastage. Try to find the timeline for the various processes involved in getting the food from farm to plate. Figure 3.10. Eat healthy, share and respect food, support local producers. Now, here we complete the reading of our chapter 3.